with Wafu. Go ahead and take it away.
Hi, I'm Wafu, and this is going to be The Beast Inside. It's kind of a weird horror game. The story is not too good, but let's get into it. The beginning will be very boring, but I promise you that at the end there's some weird things. Also, if you feel like the game is dropping at frames, that's just the game optimization. I cannot do anything about that. So whenever I press this button, I should start. So that's 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that was actually my bad. But let's do that. I was supposed to choose the difficulty as well, so yeah. So it starts with these 2 cutscenes that I can just skip. Unfortunately, I will probably get a huge lag right at the start. Yeah. So I'm just supposed to get this box all the way to the table, but I will just throw it there. Yeah. Also, when I know that the box is actually landing, it slows me down for some reason, so I need to resprint. Here I need to open these drawers for Emma to tell me that I don't have the keys in those drawers, but in the car. And now I can go to the attic. And here comes the first puzzle, and it's pretty simple because it's just writing down whatever there is on this paper. And the password is faith. And I take this book. This is Nicholas' diary. And this is the first chapter. So the diary is like supposed to be of the previous owner, and now I'm playing as him. This gets kind of weird, but normally in the non-scary chapters, which always alternate, I play as Adam, and that is a detective or agent. I need to do this because it saves a bit of time. And then I go upstairs, and I'm gonna click this window. There's gonna be a little jump scare that doesn't scare anyone. And I'm gonna jump on the stairs, which saves like 1 second, but any time save is like beneficial. So here there's gonna be kind of a clip, but not really. I just activate the cutscene through the thing, and that saves exactly 0 seconds. So I just wanted to show off that. And this is why we are using Chinese. We need to wait for this to be read out. Unfortunately, it's very slow on English, but on Chinese it's very fast. Well, in the end it saves like 20 seconds in the whole run, because there's only 2 papers like this. And now I go to the basement. There's gonna be 1 jump scare here, 1 jump scare here, and on the way back we're going to get another jump scare. So this game is special with this. And it has a lot of QTEs, which I don't know why that exists. So jump scare here. And another jump scare here. So yeah, this game likes jump scares. And this will be the end of the second chapter. After I take this key, this lantern, go back, and that's chapter 2. So now I'm going to play as Adam again, and this is going to be probably the most boring chapter, or not really, but nothing interesting really happens here. Oh wait, well, I won't. Okay. So sometimes if you load too quickly, the game will actually like mess up everything around, because when you're skipping the cutscene, what? when you're skipping the cutscene, it sometimes kind of moves all the objects. And it can open doors, it can close doors, it can throw a chair at you. This really has everything. So, yeah. So, we don't have fuses here. There's like a missing fuse. And we need to find it. So there's gonna be a long way to the fuse. And this is kind of the first thing that will, or second thing that will look glitchy. I will just walk on this invisible staircase. And this is a bit harder than it actually looks, because you can actually soft lock yourself there. And another QTE. Also QTEs cannot be spammed because they are random and you never know what you're actually going to get. So that's cool. Alright, soon we'll have a little break from me talking all the time. So you're normally not supposed to jump over. My space is not working. So this game actually likes to eat inputs, but usually it doesn't happen there, but it happened, so that's nice. And here I will avoid this house, because if I go close to it, it will actually slow me down. So I'm going to do a little circle around it. And this scanning is just some weird mechanic, and you also shoot with that. What? That was weird. Now you might have time to read anything out, because there's going to be just walking, basically.
Alrighty. Well, what I can talk about is that we are here to raise money for the Heartland Animal Shelter. Just like to remind everyone that you can type !donate to get the donation link, and you can type !wishlist to get the direct donation link, basically their Amazon wish list, where you can directly donate or directly buy them, I should say, supplies, which is really cool. If you donate monetarily, you might hear your donation comment read on stream, as long as it is family friendly. If you need another reason to donate, you can write off the amount that you give on your taxes, as they are a 501c3 organization. No matter what, we appreciate you all for being here to support this wonderful charity and this wonderful run. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So here, this is kind of unintended parkour, or whatever should I call it. Basically, these jumps are normally like not possible. They are very precise, and they require you to duck while jumping, because it doesn't make your... It basically raises your hitbox, so that way you can jump some things that you're normally not able to jump. So we skipped a huge section of this thing just by jumping over that fence. And here there's a gross scene, so look away if you don't like this. I really don't have a word for this, because I don't know why they did this with a QTE. This is unskippable cutscene with a QTE. So, Beast inside for you. And of course, what's inside this deer is the fuse. So that's the story. So basically, this guy thinks that he's being stalked by Russian spies, and it's kind of like he moved into this house in the forest, which is supposed to be abandoned. Nobody's supposed to know about this, but he's going to think that that is the case. We don't have exact confirmation on like what the story actually is, like what the true ending is, but you can basically choose if he is actually being stalked, or this is just his mind playing with him. So here I will put back the fuse, and as soon as I get the save, we'll actually reload it. Because this will skip a little cutscene, and it will give me some extra time on IGT, or it will save me some time on IGT. Although it is kind of slower RTA, so on Marathon I shouldn't really be doing this, but I am, because I still want to show it off. And this is the only one that is actually losing time RTA, so no worries about it. So there's a lot of cutscenes which we skip like that, or not too many of them, but there are some. And we can snipe our wife with this bottle. That's usually what we do here because we are bored. And the physics are great. Here you will see another checkpoint. Here. And unfortunately, you would think that maybe this would skip this scene. What it is actually going to do is it will softlock the game and you have to play this entire chapter again. For some reason, even if you quit the game now, casually, you will softlock the chapter. So that's great. You don't have to do anything here. This is just the waiting section.
Something that doesn't come with being responsible for millions of lives. Some job without all the spies, agents, and double agents lurking behind your back. Without the constant feeling that you can't trust anyone.
Not really. Besides, I can trust you, right?
We have a little bit of time to talk about the charity.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, so as I said before, we're here to help out Heartland Animal Shelter. They were founded in 2002 to help alleviate the unnecessary euthanasia of animals in the Chicagoland area. Sorry, I cannot speak today. Their vision is to eliminate euthanasia for any adoptable animal, and their mission is to provide a no-kill shelter for the care, humane treatment, and adoption of lost, stray, and abandoned animals. They're also looking to help find permanent loving homes for homeless animals and promote responsible pet ownership through education, community outreach, and collaboration while maintaining respect and compassion for all creatures. In 2020, they saved the lives of 979 animals, and they found homes for 1,002 dogs and cats. They're looking forward to saving even more lives in 2021. Thank you.
Okay, so I just arrived at the next puzzle. And this is not actually a puzzle because on this difficulty, what you're doing is basically just what the paper on the machine says. So this is really a puzzle that just doesn't mean anything. You just have to remember this. And there's like 2, 14, 6, and 22. No, 22. And then I connect these, and that's pretty much the puzzle. And now I cannot mess up writing. Doing this slow just to be sure, because if I press something wrong, every time I press the key, the cogs are actually rotated again, so I would have to fix that, and that loses a lot of time. And you have to type it again as well. Now, normally, on harder difficulties you're supposed to do more here, but here he just does it on his own. So that's great. So you just click this paper, wait a bit, and then you click the other paper, and that's the end of the chapter.
Throat was slashed? This is getting too fucked up. Seriously. God, how long has this been here? Is this blood or just rust? Is this what I think it is?
And in a while you'll see probably the most interesting chapter or actually not, like the second most interesting chapter as Nicholas. Because the skip that that exists here is kind of unexpected, and I'll show you why in a while. If you have time to read anything out again, this will be an auto-scroller, so you have time now.
Alrighty, I could ask you a question if that's okay.
Sure.
So, how'd you get into speedrunning?
Oh, I got into speedrunning by actually watching a person run Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. I won't mention who that is because they're not welcome in the community, unfortunately. But I watched that speedrun and I was thinking, oh, I like Fallout and this looks easy. So I tried it, and in a while I got quite a decent run in any percent. Then I got world record in all good endings and world record in max quests. So it kind of like showed me that speedrunning is not too hard, but of course it takes time. And that basically, that feeling of like this not being something super difficult made me make this my hobby. So yeah. Here I'm going to take this gun and this lockpick. I don't actually need the gun, but I would have to walk into a cutscene that gives me the gun, so I'm gonna take it now. And here I'm gonna just try to jump out of this window, which is harder than it looks, and I have to move my mouse a lot. And that was max DPI on this mouse as well, so I just... You always break your hands here, that's not pleasant, but it was kind of good window. So this window skips a lot of the run, and unfortunately what it causes as well is that you have to walk in the trigger, and you also cannot cross this bridge because there's no plank. And this is a section that actually eats a lot of inputs, so if... yeah, that ate my jump. So if I... oh, that is good. So if I fail something here, it's probably the game eating my inputs. These jumps are not hard. If I avoid the area on the right that I just avoided, I will not get fog here. You normally are here in a chase, but going around it just removes the fog and I'm fine. Unfortunately, that is not possible for the next sections, or it actually is possible, but not with this version of the game. And maybe it is, but you would have to think of a way to avoid it. But we basically just do it blind because why not? And doing it blind is not too hard. You kind of just hold the right side, and when you see these stones, you know that you are on the right way. So you just hug the right side, and that's it. And that's rule for most of these sections, except for like one, where it's still kind of right, but not too much right. So yeah. And I believe that's this section. If not, then I'm gonna fail miserably here. I think you go just a bit right. Yeah. This was still too right. Oh. Never mind. But we got there. And then there is a last section of this where I'm supposed to go right, but I'm going to go straight a bit. And then I'm going to go up to the right side. And preferably not get stuck on any stones or trees. I think I'm going the right way. Oh, almost. The fog is not even supposed to be like this. It's kind of glitched, but that's what it is. We'll take this ammo. I don't really need much of it, but just to be sure. I need to reload this. if I sprint during the reload, it will actually throw away the ammo, so that's bad. Or it won't throw it away, but it won't reload the gun. And I need to be very precise here. And I need to headshot him a lot. And I ideally don't want to get hit. Which I did. And this is the first part of the shooting. And if I time this correctly, which I didn't, I could have avoided this. Oh no. At least I can maybe go here. And if he's gonna come, it will be great. But not with that. This has a really weird range, so that also messes you up a lot. But yeah, I somehow did it. Not too great fight, but this works. So, this next section is going to start with time for any commentary again, so you can read anything out. I will just mention that I will be carrying a broom and ignoring all the game triggers that are here. So, that's basically it. And also, when I'm dragging this, instead of holding shift, I just press it once, and that actually is faster when you're dragging items. So now, if you have anything to say, now's the time.
I just wanted to say that we are almost a fifth of our way to our goal. It's $4 more, and we will hit 1/5 of the way, because we are looking to raise $1,000 for Heartland Animal Shelter. Right now we are at 196, so if anybody can get us that that'll get us over that 1/5 point, which would be great. Other than that, I did just want to say that I'm really enjoying the run so far, and hope it continues to go well.
So I hope this is a good enough setup. Oh, what? Okay, so the broom just clipped through, which is not good at all, because I cannot get it out. And this is the first time this happened to me, so I will need to reload this entire chapter. I never had this happen. Like, I don't know this is possible.
Marathon luck, man.
Marathon luck. Unfortunately, carrying the broom is kind of a huge time loss because it's pretty slow. But yeah, this shouldn't be an issue. But this is not the fail I expected in this chapter. There's like 3 more fails that can happen, so yeah. And this is not one of them. Well, now it's one extra one.
Well, since we're retreading old ground, would you be up for answering another question?
Sure.
What other games do you run besides this one?
I used to run Fallout, the classic ones actually, and I mostly run Mafia, which is a Czech game, which is kind of a GTA clone, but in a different setting. So that's probably my main game. And also I used to run Arx Vitalis a lot. That's like kind of my... I would like to say that's my main game, because I pretty much destroyed it when it comes to glitch hunting. So that was like my first actual piece to speedrunning where I was proud about it. And other than that, it's usually just something that I run a couple of times and then I quit.
Very nice, thank you.
Okay, so here normally you're supposed to be chasing a guy who is supposed to be a spy, but you can actually kind of jump here by those with those crouch jumps. And also the timing of the crouch jumps is kind of hard. Because whenever it eats your input, you're just done. Like, you cannot do anything about it and you have to try again. So here, this is kind of a hard jump as well. Oh, first try, that's awesome. So this is probably the second hardest jump in the game, and that's because you have so little room to actually sprint, and to jump forward you actually need to sprint. Otherwise it's just going to do a little jump like on the same place where you are standing. So you need to sprint on that little piece, and you also need to hit an invisible wall that's there. It might have looked like I can just pass through here, but normally when you're chasing the spy, he actually breaks that, so there's just a hole, so you cannot go there. So that's usually this is usually a reset point, because you just fail that jump and start falling down. And now is coming up also one of the hard jumps, because the jumps are not really hard, but getting them both together, that is hard. So I will just hope that I get them in a couple of tries. If not, I'm going to get a machete, and that was the jump that I was supposed to get. But that's only half of the thing. So I'm gonna get here, get a little bit back. And I get it first try again. Or second try, let's say second try. Because I failed that thing. But yeah, that's nice. So that gives trouble to a lot of runners, and the reason why it's so hard is because there's just no setup mostly. And if it eats your inputs, then you have to repeat both of those jumps, and that just messes you up. And if you fail it like 3 times, then it's actually faster to take the machete. So and this is actually easy jump, but I'm failing it. So here I'm bypassing all the game triggers that are here. I'm supposed to be using this scanner that I can't even pull out, but I'm supposed to be using the scanner that I was using in the chapter 2, in the chapter 3. But now I'm just bypassing all of that, but by jumping over these fences and stuff. If you have anything to read out, well, actually no, sorry. Here I need to mention that a lot of things like these trees are not solid, but here I just jumped over an invisible wall because for some reason there's an invisible wall somewhere. And these things just require you to know kind of weird pathing. Sometimes you may wonder why I'm going around something. Usually it's just because there's something that will block me. So yeah. And now you have time to read anything out.
Alrighty, I have another question for you, if that's all right.
Sure.
What's your favorite part of the run?
Chapter 10. And you'll see why. That chapter that's masterpiece. And it used to be one of the hardest part of the run, because there was kind of out of bounds, but it was on top of the map. So you had to make a precise jump off a bridge on the top of the map, and that was really difficult because not only it's precise, it's also easy to fall there. So it's not only one jump, there's a lot of consequent jumps, and that was just such a hell to run. And that was reset point in chapter 10. Now chapter 10 is pretty easy and pretty fun.
Very nice.
Okay, so I'm gonna enter code into the save. I don't need to solve the puzzle.
Maybe I can find something in this room.
If I remember the codes, I will just get it. And that's the end of chapter 5. So now there's a kind of... Well, this is supposed to be a scary chapter again. So we're playing as Nicholas. And it starts with unskippable cutscene. And it doesn't have much interesting. Except for the start, where I'm going to do kind of a weird interaction. So after I stand up, I'm not going to be able to use anything, I'm not going to be able to progress. So we used to just walk around here and prepare ourselves, but what we found out is if you jump on this, if you jump on that, jump on that, and go up here, this will fall down. We don't know why, but it will fall down and it makes the path easier. Oh no. And we should spam click this. And whenever I get safe, I'm going here. There's going to be a lot of flying flying things, so I hope I don't have to tell you the jump scares, because they are not really scary. There's just flying things around, and I don't even know all of them, so... The camera was not supposed to be that way. Oh yeah, that's scary.
What was that? Where did it try to drag me?
Also, there's a lot of interactions with items and moving stuff around, and that's kind of difficult. It really strains your hand. So that's something that kind of discourages people from running it. And some of things are probably harder to move than they would be to move IRL, because some of these interactions are just so silly. Here I'm gonna solve a hard puzzle. I'm gonna enter anger here, and the password is actually written on the paper here. So that's a nice puzzle.
This must be what that disturbed janitor. These damn roots again. They seem too... What? I can't deal with it with my bare hands. I need some kind of sharp...
I actually have to admit that that part with that lady has actually scared me when I was derusting this, so yeah. It's not like it's scary, but when you forget about that, then it's bad. Especially when you have it loud. So again, random QTEs.
I wonder why they thought putting QTEs and unskippable cutscenes was a good idea, because it really doesn't seem like a good idea.
No, it's not a good idea. I don't know what led them to that, because there's so many of them. Like, this game is a QTE fest. And this lockpicking is also great. You just have to hold, you just have to press left click and wait for it to pop up. Here I will actually skip the cutscene again. The QTEs are also really, like, at least if they were like only a couple of times, then I would probably understand it. But the game is full of them, and they are even like being random is kind of what is worse about it, because then you're like listening to the cutscene again because just one misclick can completely reset you. So that's great.
It reminds me a lot of like Resident Evil 4, because there was a lot of that where, oh yeah, I'm just watching it. Oh, I'm dead now.
Oh yeah, that was great. So here the FPS always drops, and there's a jump scare, but I avoid it. unfortunately. It's also not really good, it's just someone running to you. Here I'm gonna get huge FPS drops, so if I hold the left side I should be able to survive. Here it just makes you duck for some reason. He can actually kill you, but you can avoid him. And here I needed to wait because it was still saving. And now after the reload it should be fine. This also skips this cutscene. Or it's not a cutscene, it's just talking section that doesn't really carry anything to the run. We just need to pick up this paper.
We don't need plot, we just need speed.
True. No. So here there's gonna be another chase. Except this time it's going to be even more weird than the first one. There's not gonna be any fog, but this guy is going to be teleporting everywhere. Because for some reason I don't know if they thought that you're going to pass through this too quickly or too slow, but he just appears behind every corner and that's just silly. I don't know what they were thinking with this. So he's gonna appear like here. Then he's gonna be here. Here you jump and can get killed by this thing. And all of a sudden he was on the top right screen. Also that 360 was just for the memes. And he's here again.
He's very persistent.
Yeah. I wonder how he's faster than me as well. Nice jump scare, except the timing is not really great, so it doesn't even scare you. And he's here again. Also, if you would look back, he's totally slow and he would like never reach you. So that makes this kind of more fun.
He just sprints the moment you're out of sight.
Yeah, he's like nowhere. And this is the end of chapter 6. And now this is a fun chapter. This is a chapter that has a lot of walking. It's pretty boring at the start, but the end is just worth watch. So I'm probably not able to speak about anything about this chapter. If I have a good run, I might show this chapter in a bit different version of this game after the run. I think I should be able to hit the estimate pretty well. Because when I derusted this, I found out some new things and didn't expect to derust this well, so we might have time for that. If not, I'm just gonna tell you at the end of run what can happen here. I'm just gonna tell you now that everything I'm doing here is completely useless, and this chapter is skippable just by pressing the final item, but you can't really get out of bounds here, except in the other version where you can. And now there's time to read anything out because there's nothing happening. This is just walking, couple of jumps, but yeah, you can read anything out. Or ask a question.
Well, I might wind up having to, depending on how long it's walking for. But I did just want to remind everybody that we are here to raise money for Heartland Animal Shelter. You can type !donate to get the donation link, !wishlist to be able to donate supplies directly to them. And if you donate to the Tiltify link, you might even hear your message on stream. If you need another reason to donate, just remember that you can write the amount off on your taxes because they are a 501c3 organization. No matter what, we appreciate you all for being here to support this wonderful charity and support this really, really cool run.
So these sections are kind of skippable. I use the pickaxe and then I can... Both of these can be jumped over, but this one is hard and causes a soft lock most of the time. I got it only once. And sometimes you can run through it and sometimes it just slows you down for some reason. It probably depends on where you're standing, but I never found out the way to do it properly. Here I can jump on this, maybe. No, I failed. So this is bad. I will try it again, but I need to have a better position. That was actually my mistake. If I have a better position, what will end up happening is I either jump on the left side or I will get the QTE pop up. So yeah, there's not really a way to fail it unless you do this.
Can't fail it unless you do it exactly the way that I did it just now.
Yeah, so now I got it. That's how it's supposed to look. And you're skipping a very long QTE by that. Here I could kind of sprint through it, but not fully, but that was better. Sometimes you can stand up here, but it doesn't really save any time because you're usually stuck. And now there's more walking, so if you have anything to ask or read out.
Well, I can talk about how Heartland Animal Shelter rescues pets from various situations, and each pet arrives with their own unique needs. Some of their pets require medical care, some require emotional support, some require behavioral help, and they all require some good old tender love and care. Currently, they not only save most at-risk they not only save the most at-risk animals from the Chicagoland area, but in 2020 partnered with shelters in 11 other states throughout the country, increasing their ability to save lives. At Heartland, they don't ever judge an animal based on its breed, age, or medical concern, but solely on the content of their character. They truly believe that every animal deserves a second chance, and they pride themselves on only pulling the most vulnerable population of animals after all others have had the chance to save them.
Okay, so what I've just done here, you've seen me climb on the rope and then jump down. You would probably ask myself, why did I do that? Why didn't I just jump? Well, the thing is, the rope actually disables a fail trigger, or kill trigger actually. It will just make me fall and die if I don't click it. And here I have to do scanning again, which is pretty boring. And it's also kind of precise, it sometimes doesn't want you to scan. So here you would think again that I should go through the other side of the house, but in the house you actually don't sprint like this. So I got away from the house as fast as possible, and that makes me sprint a bit earlier. I didn't time this, but I think it's faster. So there's another scan here. And now basically, to put it in perspective with the lore, because there's not much to talk about right now, we found out that some sheriff arrived at our house and went through our items, and he also left a note here that our wife actually might be a spy. So that kind of messes with our character. And we're supposed to go to his house and talk to him, but we'll find... Well, we actually won't even enter the house, and we will find some interesting stuff. So here you are actually supposed to connect some cables you'll be able to see them in a while if the render distance allows it even. Not sure if on this settings it's visible. I think it should be. Yeah, you can see the cable here. The green one, there's blue one. So there's 3 cables you need to connect. That takes a lot of time. What you can do instead is this lever still works, but it doesn't really disable the fence. But you can jump on it and then over the fence. So that's how you get over electric fence. And now there's a little walking section. If you have time for something short to read.
I could ask you a question if that's all right.
Sure.
So, when you're not speedrunning, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies?
Oh, that's probably difficult. I used to play badminton, which was really my passion, but unfortunately COVID doesn't really allow me to do that. Like, the places are closed, and also my health condition is not great, so I cannot really do anything. But I also like music. I don't really play a lot of, or I play a lot of things, but I usually am not at the pro level. But I enjoy it, so music all the way.
Very nice.
So here, there's like supposed to be 2 more scans, but we don't need that. We can just pick this key. It's pretty precise. This is the fastest I ever got it. I take this pen because pens are nice. And I will take an elevator because stairs are boring. And maybe you'll ask me, could I do it the other way around? Well, yeah, you can do it the other way around, except it doesn't work as you would expect. You need to place an item that I can hold like this, which is kind of bad because all of them have a different collision. And if I grab it properly, then I would be able to lift the chair and I would be able to fly. I'm trying to throw this in a specific angle so that it opens, but it doesn't want to. And if I throw this in a very bad angle, it will actually fall out of bounds. I'll try it here. No. Don't do this to me, please. Pan, be nice. This rotating items is also very bad. If you think manipulating items in Resident Evil games is bad, then try this. Oh, and it's out of bounds. So I need to scan this. And unfortunately we will be, after all, entering the sheriff's house. But that's fine. And normally you're supposed to solve a puzzle here, and you can open this with entering code, but I'll do it with this. And for some reason it barely moves, which I'm not sure if it's FPS now, because it's kind of FPS dependent. This is really unlucky. Usually works with this one. I'll try this side again. No, please. Yes. That can happen with the pan first try, but unfortunately it didn't. And this is the item that actually triggers the end of this chapter. And this item is actually active all the time, and again, if we have time, I'll show that to you. So this is a weird chapter. It is a lot of walking, but also it's like super weird because these paths actually have a teleporter in the middle, each of these paths. So you need to, if you go back, it will actually teleport you somewhere. And that makes this easier to go through, but it also is very confusing. So here I'm going to go just through this. Oh, and back. Even I mess up. And here I'm going to open here. Normally you're supposed to go by these papers that you find here, and there's like a enemy, but we can easily kind of avoid him. And if we go through the right path, the lights will just start shining. And once all the 3 are active, then we can just go to the next area. And there's 3 levels like this, so this is pretty boring section. And you're actually about to witness a kind of a new trick soon. Oh, I activated him, that's not good. So stay tuned. Here this is kind of the same as the second level, so the path is really repetitive here. Also figuring out this was a nightmare, so I'm glad I wasn't the person to do that. And here we are at the end of this, and we are supposed to move a cart, or minecart actually. We'll open this not fully on one side, and if I kept my FPS to 1, the minecart goes crazy. Kind of. And if I do this properly, I might actually activate it in just one push, but no, I didn't do it well. It's pretty rough with these FPS to even push it by a bit. The pushing can be done in just one click, but unfortunately it's like eating your inputs the lower your FPS is. And there's going to be a chase that is pretty boring, so you might read anything out.
I have a quick question. How is it that you're dropping the frame rate like that?
This is the game's optimization, because this would be probably ideal if I actually had the time, and I hope I will have the time to show something off after the run. But this is caused by the way the game is actually loading the locations, and that would be visible if I showed that. And basically some locations are pretty fine and they are loading the locations like optimally, but in some chapters everything is like loaded at the start, so it will just drop. And I don't even have bad hardware, by the way. This is the worst part about it. Most of these lags are just caused by the game loading a lot of things when you pass through a trigger. So
I
here,
love an inefficient game engine.
yeah. So I will reload this. And the reason why I reload this, although I don't have to, is because sometimes, for some reason, when you don't reload this, one part of this thing is not solid, so you will just fall out of bounds and die. And also I can run whenever I see that the texture of it changed, so the animation of the cold air is not really good. And here I'm going to have another walking section, so if you have a question you can do that, or if you have anything to read out.
How difficult would you say this game is to get into for speedrunning? Because it's looking fairly straightforward to me, at least.
Yeah, so what is difficult about this run is some of the jumps are pretty tight, and they require nice timing on the crouch, because all of the jumps I'm doing I have to crouch as well at the right timing. And that's pretty much wow, I'm not good today. And that's pretty much the only hard thing about the run. But the game itself has issues with inputs, so a lot of the times it will just eat everything you press, and that might be discouraging. But overall, this is a pretty easy run to learn, a bit harder to master. But if I had to compare this to anything, Outlast kind of comes to mind, because it's kind of similar type of game, and it's one of the horror games that actually has jumping. Outlast is harder than this, but I think Outlast doesn't have like so much input eating, so I would say it's not that hard, but the input eating is really something that I don't like and a lot of runners don't like. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. And even the supposedly hard parts are kind of easy to get. But unfortunately, setups don't really exist here, because it depends on how you jump, like when it comes to timing, so it's always different, even if you're facing the same way.
Emma's alone at home. I must get back to her as fast as I can.
Do you happen to have any pets?
Oh, I do. I do have a couple of snakes, actually. I have ball pythons, actually 3 of them. And we do have... I don't know how it's called in English, but it's also a snake. It's about kind of a basic one. Then we have a bearded dragon.
I've left my wife.
And I think that's almost about it.
Hope she's all right.
Oh, we have geckos actually. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. But I'm kind of thinking of getting an insect pet,
Emma!
which would be actually stick bugs. But I don't have time for that now. Although it's pretty cheap, so yeah. But I don't have time to go out now to get food for them. So yeah,
Fair
I'm
enough.
not getting them now. Okay, so here is where Chinese is strong again. Because I need to wait for this. And this is... in English this probably takes like 10 seconds, and this was like instant. So this is a great time save. Here I actually need to cap my FPS to about 30, because this doesn't like to play with high FPS, it just doesn't move at all. So the lower your FPS is, the more it moves. And this is almost the end of this chapter. So I will just walk to the door. There's a jump scare, but we don't care about that, we can skip it. And now this is my favorite chapter, and this is the part that is really the best. This is what was actually worth waiting for, I believe. Because this out of bounds is just great, and so easy to get.
The hides. What did we hide? It creeped out at night. But what? And
So the first out of bounds kind of is this, which you're not supposed to get there. And this is a bit faster than going through these things. And now these monsters can kill you. They never did until today, because when I practiced I jumped right between these two and they just got me stuck and killed me. So that was nice. Also this section is the least optimized one of the game, so I'm constantly running at 50 FPS. Here I want to be a bit careful to not go to right, and if I jump and get this fall and hold sprint, I will be able to sprint in the water, which you're normally not supposed to get. And if I jump over that, I will also be able to sprint here. So these are like 2 skips that are here. And we used to do this almost casually, and then we found out of bounds on the top of the map, and that was skipping quite a lot, but you're supposed to like go through this house of this woman, and she's hunting you there. But we don't do that anymore because we found out that this bush can be jumped through if I position myself correctly. This will get me stuck a bit. Or a lot. Whoa. Okay, I'm out. And this is completely out of bounds. This is why the optimization of this game is so bad, because all these things that you're not even able to access are loaded. And now I'm in the river. And yeah, everything is loaded, and I didn't even walk through a trigger that is supposed to load it. So this is kind of the chapter where you just have lags through all the game, because it doesn't deload anything and everything is loaded right at the start. So we'll just prove you that I'm in a river by going up here, and you're normally not able to get there.
This game has had some very strange development decisions behind it.
And you would be surprised that or would you be surprised if I told you that there's actually parts of different chapters in this? Like, you literally have... I think there's... You remember the chapter where I got chased by the guy with that chainsaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is loaded here actually. All of that chase is loaded here. So that's great.
I wonder if they did that specifically to reduce the footprint on the disc, like on the installed size, because then you're just reusing the same levels.
Oh yeah, that is maybe possible. Oh, am I getting this for... What? Okay, this is one of the harder out of bounds jumps, but I'm getting it like a god, and then I get stuck on this. Okay, and now we are going to get one of the worst segments. This is just auto-scroller, there's nothing. So if you have anything to ask, if you have anything to read out, again, you can do that. There's going to be just a QTE, and then I'm going to run home.
So I know that, like, for the games that I run, when you do them in like a marathon, they don't seem scary like at all, because it's like, oh yeah, got the jump scare here, blah 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 blah. For somebody who's playing this for the first time casually, how actually scary is this game?
Oh, so I think if you play it on higher details, because I actually have the settings changed in like a TXT file or INI file, and it makes some of the parts look less scary. But when I played this with my sister, she was kind of scared. Like, she got a lot of those jump scares, so that was kind of fun. But if you like go through the story and like really play through it slow, then it is kind of it kind of gives you chills at some places. But what ruins this game for me is the Adam chapters, the detectives chapters, or is not a detective. He's an agent, and the scanning and everything just gives it a weird vibe for this game. I didn't like that part. If it at least didn't have the shooting in minigame, that would be nicer. But basically the Adam chapters could be a lot creepier if you didn't have to laugh about this minigame being in there. So yeah, I guess. But I think for casual playthrough it's still worth playing through. It's kind of decent. The story is weird, but I would recommend people play through that. I guess it's a bit of a meme game, but
Where did he drag her?
it's not that bad.
Why? They went this way. He knows this house better than I do.
And now you can probably already see that the main character is really confused because his house is like kind of different. There's different paths in the basement. So it kind of tells you that this makes me lead to thinking that the true ending for this game is actually this character having some disorder mentally. So yeah, but you have also the option to choose that he's actually being spied on. So yeah. And I may actually, this could have been an incentive. This is, well, no, I will not do that. I'm sorry. There's like 4 endings that you can pick through, and the one just takes a lot more minutes, so it wouldn't make sense to do that. Was there something you wanted to ask? Because I interrupted
was
you.
just nah, it's fine. You're the runner. It's all cool. I was just gonna say that yeah, putting an incentive in this late might not be
No, I didn't want to.
the best way.
Yeah, I was just thinking back that I could have done that. So this was my bad. I didn't want to do this. This is not the path you're supposed to go, but although I was on the world record pace for like a half of this run, unfortunately I messed it up in the part with the pen. So let's forget about that, and I will show you a little meme here, because this will have a long chase sequence, and there's like this easy out of bounds where you just go like through the corner, and if I jump here it will trigger the final cutscene and the chapter is actually ending. And now you get a soft lock. So unfortunately this was something that I discovered. I came here and I was like, holy, this is actually working. He's closing it. I'm getting the final cutscene. And then it was just on a black screen all the time, and you cannot get out of that. So unfortunately, this is not a skip, and you have to go through all of those triggers in the house to actually make that trigger work.
You mean you actually have to play the game in a speedrun? My god.
Yeah.
Happening to me. Judge Norton,
I've told you time and time again, you snot, you can't.
Now you were saying that one of the possible endings was that he actually was being spied on. This seems like a lot of supernatural stuff for like something as mundane as, oh yeah, you're just being spied on.
Oh, so to explain this, the reason why the chapters are alternating between Adam and Nicholas is because actually he's just reading the diary of Nicholas, who is the previous owner of the house, and he's like imagining what he's doing probably, but it kind of seems like it's his second personality almost. So yeah, it very leads to that end. But yeah, you can choose a different ending. But one ending actually ends with him in a basement where he's just well, I will probably explain that in the last chapter. Or actually not, I can do it now. So at the end he has basically the choice to be in his basement and do some business here, which you will actually see in this run. Or he will wake up in like a psychiatric ward, and he has the option to say that he is crazy, or that his wife was not actually a spy but a sparrow. And not sure if people are familiar, there's some movies about that, but sparrows are supposed to be like women who basically pretend to live with like agent to tell on him and stuff like that. So those are the two options, and the two options, the two other options, you'll see them. So yeah.
What do you say? I know where the old man keeps the dynamite boxes.
This is my chance.
Now maybe you might have something to say, because there's going to be loads.
I'm just watching the stream, and this area just seems like one of those where you just need to memorize exactly where you need to go, how long you're going in a single direction. Because like there doesn't seem to really be a good way to like in the fog it, but also like yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling. It's fine.
Oh, I see. Okay, so now there's another chase, and this is luckily the last one, the run. I can jump on this, and then I can jump on that, which, first try, oh, that's a lot harder than it looks. That's a lot harder. And now, this chapter is absolute heaven. If you like QTEs, I suggest you to just play through this chapter. It's great. So, you can count with me. This is one QTE, and I skipped one, so this is two QTEs. So, moving an object, that's... The developers also like moving objects a lot, but I won't count that, I won't cheat. And this is QTE number 3. So... yeah. Honestly, I would count this for 2, but again, I'm not gonna. But this is so long. Also, mashing it faster or slower doesn't help. It, like, the way it reaches the center is the max speed you can click it at. But you don't have to be precise. And QTE number 4. And QTE number 5.
Like they saw Resident Evil 4 and were like, yes, we must do those QuickTime events for literally everything in this game.
Yeah, exactly. And there was 5 QTEs in like a minute, I guess. So that's great. And this is the cutscene you've just seen a while before, but unfortunately, before it cannot progress. And this is the last part. This one is really boring, it's just walking. But they made it fun by adding this QTE. So there's another one. And now you're just walking. And every time I see the red screen flashing, I will just hold shift again. So if you have anything to read out, I'm just going to be walking. So Go ahead.
All right. I did just want to remind everybody that we're here to raise money for Heartland Animal Shelter. If you want to donate, go ahead, hit exclamation point donate in the chat. You can also hit exclamation point wish list if you want to directly donate supplies. As long as your message is family friendly, you might even hear it read on stream. If you need yet another reason to donate other than helping out the animals, you can write off everything that you donate to them, as they are a 501c3 organization. No matter what, though, we appreciate you all for being here and helping support this wonderful charity.
Okay, thank you. And now I'm going to do almost the last interaction. We are probably going to be changing timing soon with the moderation team. There's just me and my friend, so there's like not much discussion about that. And we will probably be ending the timing when we jump into this, but not for the marathon. Right now we are going to do it as it is on the leaderboards. And now we are going to enjoy almost 5 minutes of a cutscene, so if you have anything to read out, this kind of tells you the story of the game, and it's unskippable, so we might read something out, ask some questions, or just listen to this.
Yeah, gotta love those 5-minute long unskippable cutscenes. Definitely makes my job very easy.
I just spilled water everywhere, so be right back. Don't worry,
Okay.
there's no input, so no time loss.
Sounds good. In that case, I will just like to remind everybody that we are $196 out of a hopeful $1,000 that we're hoping to raise this event. We are raising that money for the Heartland Animal Shelter, as I've said, which they are a no-kill shelter in the Chicagoland area. They were founded in 2002. This past year, they saved the lives of 979 animals, and they found homes for 1,002 dogs and cats. They partner with shelters in 11 other states throughout the country, and they, excuse me, don't ever judge an animal based on its breed, age, or medical concern, but solely on the content of their character, which is really good. Because, like, turns out a lot of people don't like certain breeds, like pit bulls, but they are absolutely adorable and they are very docile. If you'd like to keep up with us, Horror-able Games, or HiG, we are doing movie nights. Well, we have had movie nights before. Hopefully they will be starting back up again. If you'd like to participate, go ahead and type exclamation point Discord and join us. That would be great. Otherwise, let me see. I'm not seeing any donations, unfortunately,
And I'm back.
but perfect timing. I just did my spiel. So, let's see. Is there any sort of like interesting tech that you're doing that might not be particularly apparent?
Well,
Like throughout obviously not right now, but like
yeah.
the run.
Throughout the run, I think the tech that is kind of invisible is the crouch jumping. To jump over a lot of things, you have to time the crouch properly, and it can't eat your input. And you cannot spam it, because crouching and uncrouching wouldn't help you. So the crouch jumping kind of looks like you're just jumping on something and you're just climbing. It looks so easy, but people don't realize there's actually the crouch. But other than that, there's nothing really too invisible in the run that I'm doing.
Okay. Do you happen to know any like sort of interesting stuff about the development of the game, or because I had done like a tiny amount of research while watching, and I had seen that it was kickstarted?
Yeah, and that is kind of a part that I'm really feeling bad about, because people who have actually paid for that, some of them didn't receive the key for some reason, and the developers just bailed. So that was kind of unfortunate, and they were about to make a PS4 version, but I suppose the backlash just didn't allow them to do that. I'm not sure if the if the people properly requested for the key, so I'm completely not like saying that the developers did it wrong, but from what people say, that seems to be the thing.
People wound up without keys for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, honestly, that does tend to be the way that most Kickstarter things go, though. It's, sort of, oh yeah, we got the money, and now here's sort of a product. Good luck. Like, at least in my experience, that's been sort of how stuff on Kickstarter goes.
Yeah.
But
I can give you an option. We can kill our wife because we suppose she's a spy. Or we can now realize that we are kind of the bad guy and we can kill ourselves. So I give this to you because that doesn't lose any time.
Oh.
And the time will start whenever I click that, so pick fast.
And it was kill the wife or
myself. Or the character.
Right. Let's save her. Let's shoot ourselves.
Okay, so time. And this is kind of a decent run, except for the fail with the pan. Can I ask you what the RTA is right now and how much time we are off the schedule? How much time we have to go through something?
Right now your RTA was 1:20:36. And I believe we are way ahead of schedule because we had you down for, what is that, an hour 40, so you're about 20 minutes ahead of schedule. So I believe you should have a little bit of time to show off the thing that you want to show off.
Sure. So I will ask you to lower the volume right now, because or the viewers, I don't know if you can do that, because I'm going to be starting a different version of the game, and that starts with very loud sound. So embrace yourselves or mute it. 3, 2, 1. So now your ears are safe. So this is kind of a pre-release version of the game. Don't worry, I didn't get it in any illegal way. This is actually available on Steam. Anyone can get it, as long as they own the game. It contains all the chapters, and remember the chapter 7 when I was messing with the pen and stuff like that? Well, we are going to play it again. And you're really going to... What? I pressed continue. That's not good. I'm gonna do that again. Luckily the load was not too long. Chapter 7, load. So...
Always fun when you mess up the menuing.
Yeah, especially when it's a language I don't understand. So, remember when I said that you can't get out of bounds here? Well, this version does include teleporting for some reason. And if you teleport up, you're in the house. Sometimes out of bounds, but that's fine. And this is the way to the sheriff, basically. I'm going to try to... There's like invisible wall as well. And this will really... if I pass over the right triggers, this will kind of show you... what? Where am I? This will kind of show you where... how much of the game is actually unloaded and how much... like, what causes the lags, essentially. So, I hope I will not get myself stuck. Okay, because getting stuck with this is easy. Also, if I press the key incorrectly, I might actually have trouble. I hope I will actually get it, because I'm a bit scared, so I'm gonna do it probably differently. And can get there. Well, I will risk it. Maybe it's gonna spawn the things, but let's pretend we don't care. There's still gonna be some things that are like despawned. I'm going to just try to teleport as much as possible to avoid the spawn triggers. Oh yeah. So this entire thing is despawned. And this is optimization of the game. This all is spawned right from the start of the run. Of the chapter. And this could all be respawned. And you can actually end it just by pressing the letter. And that would be chapter 7. That's the only thing you need to press, but unfortunately we didn't find good enough out of bounds. So for me, this, I believe, is everything, unless you have some other questions. But for me, I guess that's it.
I guess that must be it then. Thank you so much for doing your run and showing that off. That was really cool. Do you have any socials you want to plug?
Maybe my Twitch, I guess. So that's twitch.tv/wafuruns. And that's about it. Also, it's Wafu without I. It's not a waifu. So yeah, don't make that mistake.
All right, thank you so much. So let's hear it, everybody. Let's give Wafu a nice bit of clap and hype, because that was really cool. So coming up next is going to be Monster Trucks by the good Jake Ward. Unfortunately, I'm done with my host slot for tonight. Coming up next is going to be Solaris, and he's going to be keeping you guys company for the rest of the evening. I will be back tomorrow for RIP WSB and Nerd Squared. But until then, it has been a lovely time. Thank you so much for being here, and let's keep getting some donations in to help out the animals. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye.